I saw a video of a woman recently. She looks like she's in her young 20s, and she's been posting on YouTube for quite a while from the looks of it. And she seems like she's pretty knowledgeable, but at the same time, I don't know where she's getting this knowledge, seeing that it doesn't really seem like her dad is in her life. And usually when women like that don't have a male figure in their lives, they're usually spouting it from red pill communities or whatever that they've seen, and they don't really know what they're talking about. But she said something that was pretty interesting, at least. She's telling the truth. I don't know if she knows why it's true, but she said women are bored with the world that men have built. And I think that's true for a lot of it. But I think a lot of women nowadays are also realizing that there's a war coming. They're like the women that are awake, that are seeing the world for what it really is. They're not living in the fantasy world anymore that they so long to believe in and hope that it exists, even though it clearly doesn't. Women that are waking up, that are seeing this kind of stuff, they are realizing that they need a man to protect them. You know, I've been watching a lot of these homestead YouTube videos too, just to get more insight on how to do that, because I've been looking into it myself. And wondering how they're operating and such. And I found this young couple that, throughout my research, they've been together for 5+ years now, and that guy is probably the hardest worker I've ever seen. He is so diligent, and his work ethic is incredible. And yet he had no skills as a carpenter, or he had no skills as a construction worker or anything like that. He just decided to do the research himself and build it himself with a couple of the people that he knows in his life. And I was like, you know, that's a really cool thing to do. That's a really good way to go about things. And that man can provide. And this lady, she said that the reason that she's with him, one of the reasons that she's with him, is because he can provide and protect. Like, he knows how to do these things. He's a man's man, but he's a basic man, but he knows how to provide and protect. And she said that she knows that she doesn't need anything fancy or luxurious. She just wants to be able to live her life in accordance to her terms and her husband's terms. I thought, wow. So maybe the women that are awake are actually waking up to this. Maybe the women that are actually raised right, or at least have a good head on their shoulders. Because I know women that haven't been in the best situations of their household, but they've been able to take what they've learned and been able to diagnose themselves enough to the point to where they know what's going on. In fact, I've had these kinds of conversations in my consultations where people have said that the women that they know, or the women that they were with or are with, are working on themselves, and know that it's important for them as women to work on themselves. Just because they're women doesn't necessarily mean that they don't need to work on themselves. And I thought, wow, that's great to hear. But these women are also awake. These women are following Jesus. These women are following Christ. They're not necessarily Christian. They're not necessarily any religion. They do say that they're following Christ. And I thought, again, wow. Seems to be a certain trend, right? Because it seems to me that at this point, church and religion is going to send more people to hell than any other possible industry or institution at this point. It's so crazy to think about that, because religion is supposed to be a way for people to have set boundaries for life in themselves. And I see political leaders and any kind of leaders across the world say that we need more religion. It's like, no, I don't think that's the best way to phrase it. I don't think we need more religion. I think what we need more of is the light of Christ, and to allow ourselves to be vessels for the light of Christ. Otherwise, what are we really doing here? Okay. It seems like people just don't want to take accountability, though. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I made a video a few days ago, or maybe it was just yesterday, the days are starting to blur together. I'm working so much that it's like around the clock all the time. So I'm just continuing my creation of content and projects and life, etc., that I've got going on. It's a really busy time. So anyway, I made a video the other day titled "Why Ghosting is the New Norm." Well, the ghosting is the new norm is because people don't want to take accountability. People don't want to be held accountable for their actions. And I've had a lot of business dealings recently as well, where I've seen in business, people just don't want to commit to what they've bargained with or bargained for. And it's like, I would rather lose what I've put into the investment and get nothing out of it than to do anything that has to deal with investing and continuing to lose my ROI. It's like, at that point, it's just the sunken cost fallacy. Everybody knows the sunken cost fallacy, or at least hopefully you do. If not, here's a little brief for you. The sunken cost fallacy is, let's say you pay for a movie and you go to the movie theater and you pay for the popcorn or what. I don't advocate for popcorn because that stuff has a lot of calories, but but if you get whatever you want at the theater, you go in and about halfway through, not even maybe halfway through, in about 20 minutes in, you're realizing, oh, this movie isn't what I thought it was going to be. This isn't going to work out. And you can do either one or two things. You can say, well, might as well stay for the movie because I paid for it. Or you can say, fuck this, I'm out. I don't care. Like, because you already paid. You already paid the price. It's like, you already agreed to the payment and you already did make the payment. So it's like, are you going to just waste more time and watch a shitty movie? Like, or are you going to actually live your life according to the proper way of being, which is to not waste any time necessary? Because here's what I've noticed about successful people. And when I say successful, I just mean people that enjoy their lives and are fulfilled in their lives. And not just enjoy it out of, oh, it's fun, let's just have fun. No, it's not about that. They actually value their time. And they play hard, but they also work hard. And even then, they don't necessarily need to work hard. They just work smart. I know a guy that is an entrepreneur here in the community, and one of his businesses that he's got is doing up. Let's just say this: he's doing all right. He's doing okay. And at this point, with all the people that he's got working with him and for him, he's working 30 hours a week, making more money than he was making 80 hours a week, working full-time at 2 different jobs, trying to get this stuff going. And he's now in his mid-40s. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? And so men like this are resourceful, and men like this, like, good women can recognize these kinds of men. Good women can recognize that kind of man because they know that that's the man that maybe he doesn't have the most sex appeal, and it's not necessarily the fact that he's gonna be a beta bucks kind of guy. No, he's gonna be the rooster that protects the flock. Okay, have you guys seen roosters? Holy moly! Some of those roosters can fight hawks and owls and all those other kind of predators out there. Like, roosters can fight, and they will fight to the death. And it's amazing to watch. Like, these roosters have no fear. they must follow Christ because they have no fear whatsoever. Absolutely none. And that's the kind of mentality that women that are awake are going to flock to. The women that are not awake, the women that have no semblance, like, they're just focused on sex appeal. And don't get me wrong, it's good to have sex appeal as a man. In fact, sex appeal is probably the most important trait that you could have as a man if you really want to, because it's like no man wants to be like the husband material anymore or the boyfriend material anymore. It's almost an insult, and I don't think women realize that. Like it's a compliment for a woman to be a wife material. It's almost an insult for a man to be a husband material. And the reason being is just because of biological differences, right? We have different needs, we have different desires, we have different reward systems in our biology. So for a woman being a wife material woman, that's something special. Husband material man, and nowadays, geez, it's insulting and it's offensive. And I'm not crying about it or anything. I'm just saying that is what it is. Because a lot of the men, I've seen marriages where the man is a hard worker. He does his job, but he does have this masculine edge to him. He really does. He has that rooster, right? He has that rooster effect where he's defiant, but he's not necessarily defiant in a way that is inherently disruptive. He's only defiant when he needs to be, and he's only defiant when he has to be. And I've noticed a lot of the men that stick to themselves, that do what they do, and they're calm, cool, and collected. These are the men that really know how to interact with women. They just treat them like people. They just treat them like normal people, but there's still that edge of sexuality undertones in some way, shape, or form. What's so weird is nowadays with me, I can say things that are not sexual at all. Like I'm not meaning for anything to be sexual. And yet the woman takes it that way because I'm so stoic when I'm talking to her. It's like I don't really show a lot of that. I keep it neutral. It's not like I don't show emotion. It's just that it's not that I'm emotionless. It's just that it's almost like I empty my facial expressions while expanding my spirit so that she can lean in and soak up the nutrients of my spirit enough so that my spirit is pouring into her, and she's able to read into that however she pleases. And if the woman likes me, usually she finds, I don't know if y'all heard that. Jeez Louise. If the woman likes me, usually there's like a sexual undertone for sure. But I mean, and that's just part of being human, right? That's just part of being human. Now, if you didn't lust, let's think about this. If your parents didn't lust after each other, would you be here? Probably not, okay? So it's not necessarily to say that lust is an inherently evil thing, but to channel it in a way that gives the Most High the glory, that's where you need to be. But how do you do that without sinning is very difficult sometimes. And in the Bible, it says that it's better, I think it's in Ecclesiastes. It's either in Ecclesiastes, anyway, there's a verse in the Bible that says it's better to look into the eyes of a woman than to like lust after her body necessarily. So if you do have that lust, like be sure to look her in the eyes. Be sure to show her that you're confident and that you can look at her in the eye and you can have that strong eye contact, because if you don't have strong eye contact, especially as a man, you're not going to get very far, man. You're just not going to get very far. And men are not going to respect you, and women are not going to want to be with you. Because I can stare into a woman's soul and almost like tell her things through my eyes, and she can tell me things through her eyes, and we can form a connection there. But it doesn't always happen nowadays. Like, a lot of the women out here are either, it's almost like this. My spirit is too old for a lot of these women, even though biologically we're good. And their spirit is not even developed and their biology, like they're in their 30s or 40s, and it's like, I'm not interested in that. You're old for me, okay? Like, I'm not trying to tell you that you're old. I'm just saying that for me, you're old. And it's not personal. It's just, I've worked to get to this point for a reason, not for no reason. So I'm going to get the woman that I want. And that's that. So there is hope. There is things to be had. What in the world? I still don't know if y'all can hear that, but that is a high-pitched squealing sound there. When I talk about hope, apparently the feminists don't like it. There's some ladies over there, apparently, across the street, yapping away. Anyway, point is that you don't need to give up. And yeah, even though I'm a man that is going to be looking to go into the woods, it gives me some encouragement to see, even me myself, it gives me encouragement to see that there's women out there that are willing to live that kind of lifestyle, you know. And that's something, because a lot of the women out here, they want clout, they just want to be seen. They just want to be seen, and that's it. They don't want to actually live in life. And I think that's why they're bored. That's why the lady at the beginning of the video, I think that's why they're bored, is they don't really have much to live for. The only thing that they have to live for is vanity. And anyway, you guys get the point. I'm gonna have to call this one out because these people are going wild over there. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.